Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Peter Vexelman. For those of you that have been following us to any level and any degree, usually I have my cohort join me, Julie, right around the same time. Today it's just me. It is actually Julie's birthday, and her and Brian are probably out there somewhere having fun, and she's been very busy throughout the day. I know that because she and I have been talking several times. And anyway, Julie's taking a day off for her birthday, and we wish her a happy birthday. I'm actually here in my office. I was going to do this somewhere else, but my plans changed in the last hour or two, so I popped over here to my office. And I'm going to do the webinar from here. I'm excited to have you guys on board. I got something really, really important to discuss with you guys today. I got something really cool to share with you guys. I got something that I know you have to be doing in today's marketplace in order to succeed. I got something that, although I'm not an expert in, I would say I'm about as probably in the layman's terms. When you talk to people on the street, I would call myself against them an expert. So I consider myself to have a lot of credibility in the topic we're going to talk about today. But while everybody's dialing in, we always like to give people a couple minutes to dial in. But I appreciate you joining us tonight. Guys, it's funny. After doing this for like a year or two, I finally learned how to use the system. There's a button here I can click and see who's dialing in, and we got dozens and dozens and dozens of people from all over dialing in, and I see some familiar faces, and I love that. I absolutely love seeing some of the familiar faces on here, because what that tells me is you're out there hustling, you're out there doing this thing, you're out there paying the dues, you're out there making things happen, and you're making commitment to yourself to be here at least once a week with us, to learn, to understand, to flourish. For those of you that are here for the first time and you see me having a cigar, I used to be a pretty big cigar guy, and then for some reason, I just stopped. I'm a big workout guy too. Consider myself to be pretty healthy. And so now it's like once a week, maybe every other week, I have a cigar. And for some reason, I decided I have them like when I do these Tuesday nights, and it's really kind of become a habit of mine. And it's interesting, when things become habits, you don't even question them, you kind of do them. And that's kind of funny. That's kind of how this real estate business is. It's a habit-forming business. And that's what we want to help you do here as much as possible. Form the right habits, do the right things, and so we can all go out there and make a bunch of money together. But I appreciate those that are popping on, and you guys are constantly popping on. I appreciate that. I see Billy, Carl, Deidre, Donna, Gloria, Ariel's on, Kevin's on, G7. Wow, that's a funky name. G7's on. We got another Kevin on. We got Gottfried on. We got Randolph. We got Matt. We got Marvin. Exciting, exciting, exciting. We got Patricia on. We got Scotty on. We got JR on. Let's see, I clicked the wrong button and I lost everybody. And we got quite a few people on. This is really cool. I'm glad you guys are here tonight because, like I said, we got a very relevant topic to talk about tonight. And I've just made myself comfortable. I may have to relight this a couple times as we're talking. I hope you all don't mind. I got my sophisticated place that I'm putting my ashes in. That's just some water in a cup so I don't burn my office down. I actually did that about a month ago or about a week ago. Yeah, about a month ago. I was literally sitting in the same conference room. I had a cigar. I put it outside, and all of a sudden my whole office was like, dude, there's something burning out there. And I was like, what? And before you know it, what happened, I put the cigar out, and I started a fire outside my own office. So now I've learned when I do this, when I'm by myself, I got to be careful. So I put water inside a plastic cup so when the ashes hit, they dissolve. All right, we got more people popping on, but for those of you that are popping on, if you want to share where you're from, that'd be really cool. Love to know where you guys. There's Jerry, Howard. Handsome Contreras. I love that name. If you want to share where you're dialing in from, I see Alex popped on. That's cool. Good to see you, Alex. We got another Billy that just popped on. That's very exciting. We'll get started here in about a minute. But if you want to share where you're from, hey, Donna, how you doing? Long Island represented in the house. Fresno, California in the house. That is awesome. Awesome. Hopefully wherever you're dialing in from. Lithonia, Atlanta. That's right around my neck of the woods. Fayetteville, Georgia. That's even closer to where I'm going to be spending the night tonight in my Midtown place. That's good to see you. Cali, more people from Cali, Lawrenceville. We got hey, Shoni. Cool. All right, so let me get kind of a preface is where I like to start this by kind of telling you why we do these, okay? There's really two main reasons why we do this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I will tell you just kind of a personal note, when people work with us in a partnering capacity or any other capacity, because I talk to so many people that kind of get started with us initially, I chat with them and get to know them a little bit. I will tell you, interestingly enough, these Tuesday night webinars is one of the biggest reasons people start working with us in a partnering capacity. So I know I love doing them. I enjoy it very much. But I also know that they have quite an impact on people. And I really, that means a lot to me. Like, think about it. Like, if every week you did something for kind of the outside world, and then you found out like 6 months later, like no one's seen it, no one heard it, and people that saw it and heard it thought it was pretty disastrous, you'd be like, what the heck am I doing this for? But I constantly get feedback about how amazing these things are. So I appreciate that. That means the world to me. So guys, you know why we do these. I hope you know why we do these. There's two reasons why we do our Tuesday night webinars. Number one, for those of you that are not quite in our world yet, you're not quite our partners. But at the same time, you're still out there. You're still fighting the fight. You're doing deals, or you're trying to do deals. You're trying to put deals together. You're out there negotiating deals. You're putting contracts out. But for whatever reason, you feel like you ought to do this by yourself. And, that's fine. I applaud you. I did this by myself. I did it so successfully by myself. I lost about $500,000. Then I got my head on straight, realized that it's better to leverage off other people's efforts. But for those of you that are doing this yourself, whether you're successful at it or not successful, we want to give back to you. We feel like real estate is really a community. And it's a big community, but the only way we all grow is community. The only way we all prosper as community is by those of us like myself that have led the charge, been doing this for many years, got thousands of deals behind me. I feel like I can add value to you. I could add value. I could help you in your endeavors. And so that's one of the reasons we do this. But the second reason we do this, and I'd say it's probably the most important reason we do this, is that we are a partner-driven real estate investment company. And what that means, very simple, is this. At this point in my career, and I've had a long career, 20-year career, thousands of deals behind me, I have realized that the ultimate way to grow this business is by simply partnering with individuals across the United States and helping them achieve their dreams, their goals, helping them do deals, helping them prosper. Because guess what? When I help them process, and inevitably, I help myself and my whole team here prospers. And so we do this because we want more partners. For many years, I was an investor that did things really my own way. Not even my own way, but I did them like a typical investor does, meaning see deal, do deals, see deal, do deal. And I did that very successfully for many, many years and did tons and tons of deals. And somewhere along the line, I started realizing, well, how do I do more deals? Like, I know how to do deals. I know how to do deals all over the United States because I was literally doing deals all over the United States. I started thinking, like, how do I get more deals done? How do I find deals in areas I don't have offices in? How do I find a deal in Kansas? How do I find a deal in Wisconsin? How do I find a deal in Texas or in Maine? And I came up with this kind of crazy idea. Back then it was a crazy idea. I kind of started putting some messaging out through my social media, and I started talking about, hey, if you've got a deal anywhere in the United States and you need help putting it together, call me, get a hold of me, and I'll help you. I'll provide the money, I'll provide the expertise. And the idea just literally took off and exploded. And it was great. The only problem with that was that they were pretty much just one-off deals. Somebody would hear about me and they might have a house that they inherited and they needed some help, and we'd do a deal together. And then a lot of times we never even talk to those people again, because that wasn't really their goal in life, to become successful investors. Or the other problem was that a lot of people who were getting a hold of us back then, they just weren't putting the right deals together. What they thought were deals, when we spend time, money, effort, and time, evaluating those deals, we realized those really weren't even that good of deals. So then we kind of did a pivot, and we said, you know what? We don't want to just do one-off deals. We don't want to just look at a bunch of wrong deals. We don't want to just, waste a bunch of time. Why don't we do this? Why don't we take our education company, which was going strong for many, many years, and why don't we couple it with doing deals? And so we kind of flipped the model upside down to a degree. And the messaging was this: if you want to learn how to find a real estate deal, if you want to use my resources to actually find that deal, like my marketing and my leads, if you want to use my money to buy those deals, my money to fix those deals, my team will help execute that deal, whatever that may be. It might be a quick short-term wholesale flip. It might be a fix and flip, whatever that may be. And then afterwards, and after the deal's done, we basically look at the profits and divide them down the middle, 50-50. Then that really what became what is known today as our partner-driven coaching program. And that's what we do all over the United States. We're not looking for just one-off deals anymore. We want true long-term partners. We want people who see real estate the way we see real estate. Not just here today, but, an ongoing, predictable type of businesses. We want people that want that kind of lifestyles that this business has afforded someone like myself. We want people that want to grow and scale these businesses. And so that is what our partner-driven coaching program is all about now. And that's the second reason why we do these Tuesday night webinars. We want you, for those of you that are here for the first time, and I know there's a lot of you here whose names I don't recognize at all, or maybe you're watching this a later date in a later time. We want more partners, and we want you to feel comfortable that we are the kind of partner you want to work with. And so if any time while you're watching this or afterwards, you feel like, that's the team I want to partner with. If he said he's going to help me find a deal, if he says he's going to give me the money to buy it, give me the money to fix it, his team is going to help me execute the deal, and then we're going to sell them off, split the profits, and you feel like that's something you want to be a part of, that sometime today or sometimes while you're watching this or right afterwards, you need to go to our website at www.coachingbypeter.com. That's www.coachingbypeter.com. And there you can get a lot more details on who we are, what we do. You could see a ton of testimonials. You could see some really cool and exciting things. And at that point, if you're like, yep, this is it, then just simply put your information into the website. Sometimes a member of our staff will call you, kind of go over some more details. And if it's a right fit, then let's go. Let's go to work. Let's do deals. But maybe some of y'all are watching this and you're like, I am ready now. Like, this is it. This is my future. I don't got to go to a website. If this is what they do, I'm all in. Then what I do is actually I give you my personal cell phone that you can call me, and we can get rocking and rolling pretty much immediately. And that's 404-915-9685. All right, guys, so that's the preliminary stuff. We had an amazing weekend here with about 50 of our partners. This last weekend, literally about 50 of our partners from all over the United States congregated right here in Atlanta, and we had an amazing 48 hours. And for me, the amazing part was the people, the partners. I mean, you could hear the vibe. It was like, all the way, I want to say a bad word, but I'm not going to say it, but, blankety blank to the wall for 48 hours. I was there. Julie was there. Laura was there. Kristen was there. Rafa the whole team we were all there just packed into a room with about 50 of our partners. And I promise you, I think it'd be hard to find any of those partners that after they left, they weren't on cloud nine. They were more committed than ever. And that's one of the things we do with our partners, by the way. It's not just, you're in Hawaii or you're in California and we're just interacting with you through technology. I mean, our partners, we're hands-on. Our partners come here, they visit us, they spend weekends with us. We have a good time. We also threw a pretty cool party Saturday night. Got to hang out with more of them, got to know them at a kind of a more personal level. It was an amazing weekend. And for any of y'all who are here, we really appreciate you being here. And we hope that you gain a tremendous amount of value. We'll have another one in the next couple months, so stay tuned for that. But guys, what I want to talk to you about today, something I haven't talked about I haven't talked to you in a couple months, and I really feel like it's like too long to wait. Because what I'm going to share with you today, it's kind of like if you listen to me today and at the end you're kind of scratching your head and you're like, oh, I haven't done any of that. I mean, you're like literally behind the ball. There's things that you could fall behind the 8 ball with and catch up very quickly. There's things that, like, if you're behind the 8 ball, literally every day you're just falling further and further and further and further behind. And this is one of those things, guys. This is a very, very critical thing that you need to be doing. So I want to talk to you about social media tonight. I want to talk to you about what really just kind of a brief description of what social media is, how we use it here at Partner Driven, why we use it at Partner Driven. I want to tell you some things how you need to be doing. But most importantly, I want to impress the fact upon you tonight, a very simple point, and that's this. If you're not part of the social media, you're at a huge disadvantage. Huge, huge, huge disadvantage. Before real estate was kind of like, you could almost pinpoint the things that would put you at a disadvantage. Like, I got $1 million, I don't have $1 million. You're at an advantage if you got $1 million. I got a contractor that's got experience. I got a contractor that's never done a house. Okay, you're at a huge advantage with a house, with a contractor like that. I got an experienced attorney. I got somebody just came out of law school. And sometimes, those were the kind of things that we all as investors evaluated our own businesses and outside businesses by just seeing, what is that investor? How does that team look like? Well, today there's another facet that's been added on to those things in real estate, and that is social media. When I study business models, when I talk to people that are doing this business, whether they're successful at it or maybe struggling at it, no longer do I ask, how much money are you working with? How's your contractors? How's your infrastructure? Tell me about your market. The other thing I always ask about is tell me about your social media presence, guys. It is the social media aspect of this business today is just as important as having money or not having money, having a contractor or not having a contractor, having a realtor to sell your properties or not having a realtor. If you're in a rental business, having a property management team as opposed to not. It is absolutely as critical as any of those things. And guys, for those of you that are maybe even way behind the 8 ball and you're just trying to figure out what in the heck is he talking about social media guys is nothing more than the big powerhouse websites that we all have. None of us started using them to build this business. I mean, when I saw social media for the first time a couple years ago, my social media was limited to Facebook. I mean, I just kind of heard about Facebook. I understood it. I set up an account a long time before even that. Never really used it. There a couple times I did use it. I'd maybe post a picture of my kids or maybe a trip I was taking somewhere. And I was literally just looking at social media from a standpoint of friends and family. But social media is those types of websites. They're the types of websites that many times we do think about. How do we communicate with our family? It's the Facebooks of the world. It's the Instagrams of the world. It's the YouTubes of the world. It's the Twitters of the world. It's Telegram is on now. It's a very big social media platform. But these social media platforms, guys, that before so many of us, including myself, by the way, looked at it as nothing more than just tell people what a good time you're having. These are like real life, powerful tools that we as investors absolutely need to be using to propel us in this business. You know, these platforms are what I used to consider marketing. Let's say there's so many things that social media has taken over for. For instance, what I used to look at from a standpoint of marketing now is ruled by social media. You know, before, what I used to look at from a standpoint of hiring people and bringing people onto the team, like the monster.coms, Indeed.coms, the mega websites to find people, now have been taken over by social media. You know, what social media, you know, what I used to look at as a way to get information out to let's say my world. Now we use social media to get that same information out. So it is kind of, it's, I will make this argument. Social media has pretty much taken over the conventional way of doing business. And I will tell you, one way or another, you could almost run your whole entire real estate business from a standpoint of social media. See, what social media is now, it is you. I mean, the best way to look at it, you know, why social media is so important? It is literally you. It is how you appear to this world. It is what the world thinks about you. It's what the world categorizes you at. It's the credibility you have. I mean, how many people really have the ability to check me out logistically? Like from a standpoint, how many deals have I really done? What's my track record? Guess what? They just go to my social media, the way they're going to your social media. And so it's important that so your social media basically, in essence, what social media becomes, it is your speaking voice. It is you. It's your persona. It is your, it is your, you know, it is your why for building this business. It is your how for building this business. So the first thing let's talk about is, how do you present yourself on social media, guys? Very, very important, you know, and you know, one of the big topics that come up is what platforms do you want to use? And I would probably stick in terms of the platforms I just mentioned. I don't, you know, in the end, there's tons and tons and many, many different platforms out there for social media right now. In my opinion, the only ones for us that you need to be focusing on right now are the powerhouse one. They're the Facebook, they're the YouTubes, they're the Instagrams, they're the LinkedIns. I think if you, as an investor, have a presence on those platforms, you're like way ahead of the learning curve. You're like way ahead of where it's like where you need to be. You may not even be way ahead, but it's if you can capture those, then you've captured what you need to be captured. Now, for instance, let's say tonight you're listening this, or you're listening to this in the future, sometime in a recorded session, and you're asking yourself like, well, Pete, I don't have time to do all 5 of those social medias because I know each one has its own platform. Each one is, like, for instance, Instagram, you got to be under a minute. You know, whereas Facebook, you can go forever and ever. So there's intricacies. You know, Twitter, you can only use a certain amount of characters, whereas on YouTube, you can do as long a description as you want. So the obvious question always comes up, Pete, you know, I'm just getting started in social media. How do I start it? How do I engage it? What's the number one platform? I think for us as real estate investors, the number one platform that you want to go after is, in today's marketplace, it's Facebook. You know, if you only have time to do one, if you only have time to kind of really build it out from a standpoint of just one, then I would absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, start out with Facebook. As we speak here today, Facebook has enormous presence, huge presence. And the cool thing that I like about Facebook is that from that platform, you could pretty much get the exact same thing you're getting on other platforms. For instance, social media's got your own local presence. You know, here's who I am. I'm an investor. You know, I have whatever, X amount of kids and all this. So it builds your persona. Facebook also allows you to interact with other individuals. Facebook also allows you to be part of communities, because on Facebook, there's communities, there's groups, there is organizations that exist on there. So, you know, you could be there as an individual, you can interact with other individuals, you could join your group by growing your network. Facebook also allows you to have a personal brand and a business brand. You know, both, you know, I have both. I have a personal brand, I have a business brand. Now, there's a couple arguments on both of those. I will tell you, my philosophy is, even though it's my personal brand on Facebook is still very real estate driven. because again, I use social media specifically to help me build this business. So whether somebody goes to my personal page or my business page, once they're there, they right away have an idea that I'm an investor. So Facebook really encompasses all the things that you need to have encompassed in this world. Now, the great thing about social media is that some of these platforms can interrelate. For instance, it's hard to interrelate with Instagram because Instagram is owned by Facebook, and you can go from Instagram to Facebook. It's hard to go from Facebook to Instagram because of time limitations, sometimes because of how Instagram wants to be perceived in terms of the kind of pictures, the kind of pixels, and all this. But going from Instagram to Facebook is very simple. So my point there is sometimes, even though you may want to decide you only want to dominate one, because you dominate one, you could then basically leverage others. Like we go from Facebook to YouTube instantaneously, and then from YouTube we are able to populate our existing web pages. So there's a lot of you can interconnect between all of them. How do you want to perceive yourself on Facebook, or how do you want to perceive yourself in these platforms? I will tell you, it's very simple. You want to perceive yourself as a real estate investor. It's very simple. Because what happens now in the world we live in is that we almost always get checked out. I mean, it's just inevitable. Whether you believe what you see on the internet or you don't believe what you see on the internet, almost everybody goes to internet to get information. Very few times do people go to libraries anymore to get information, newspapers to get information, back channels to get information. Right now, the way people get information, good or bad, is they simply pop onto the internet. And the first thing that almost everybody does when they are fishing for information is they just search. They do search. And so one of the arguments I hear against social media, especially from new people all the time, is things like, well, gosh, Pete, I'm just a lonely old guy out of Wichita, Kansas. I got a little website up. How in the world would anyone find me? Well, that's why you got to use social media, because you might be a little guy out of Wichita, Kansas with one website and not a lot of clout on the internet. But guess who has tremendous amount of clout on the internet? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. So what happens when you set up profiles on those websites and somebody, let's say, Googles your name, you're right, they might not even see your little website. But guess what? Because YouTube's so powerful, because Facebook is so powerful, because LinkedIn is so powerful, they themselves get to the very top of the search engines. So when somebody uses your name, right away, YouTube will probably get up there before you even your own personal website, and Facebook will get there. So the bottom line is these literally become the frontline images of how you're perceived to the world. And I could tell you, when we're done today, if you're trying to figure out, well, why might I get more business? Why do like other investors shun me? Why is it that when I get my business card out, no one ever calls me? Why is it when I talk to a seller, they don't call back, or I can never get a hold of them? Well, part of the reason could be how you're showing up to the world. One of the challenges I will make for you, if you already have these profiles set up, pretend you're someone brand new. Pretend you're a seller, and you're dealing with you, and you put your information into a search engine, and you end up on your Facebook page. Would you do business with you? If all of a sudden, I'm a seller and I end up on your Facebook page, and the first thing I see is that you partied last night at a bar somewhere, or that you spent, 30 minutes put together some kind of a manifesto about how you hate the government, or you're somebody that maybe takes advantage of certain situations, or you're an individual that starts discussing fringe kind of topics. It's not that seller agrees with you or he doesn't agree with you. It's right away their mind gets taken away from the task at hand. And the task at hand is for you to build credibility for being an investor. They might agree with all your rants. They might be a partier just like you. But the job at hand is to do a transaction, an expensive transaction. Remember, Real estate is it is by far the number one most important asset people have. I mean, it's worth tens upon tens, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars to people. And so what they want to do is they want to get a comfort level with you. Just think tomorrow, you have to have, or in a month or two, you have to have brain surgery, and you're trying to find the right surgeon, and you put your information in. I'm going to go to the surgeon that when I go to his Facebook page, there's diplomas, there's credibility, there's maybe articles about him or articles that he showcases with things he likes to do in the medical field, maybe some accolades, maybe some podcasts. I mean, right away, without even knowing anything about who the best surgeon is, right away, I'm sticking with the guy or the lady that's building credibility with me. So for some of you, that might mean very simple. You will have to change how you appear to the world. And I know what sometimes people think. They're like, well, gosh, Pete, I want to use my social media as to show people what a partier I am, or wow, I want to bring down that other government and across the world. And I get it, but I'm going to tell you, there's no other way to say it. It's going to interfere with your business. It's absolutely going to interfere with your business. And so you're going to have to make a decision. Is it more important for you to appear as a partier to the world, or is it more important for you to have credibility? So you get it. Set up the right kind of profile. For those of you that are like totally lost in what I'm saying, like, well, what is the kind of profile? You know what I say? Go to my profile. Go take a look at how I'm set up. Go take a look at how some of our team members are set up, like Julie or something like that. And you'll see pretty quickly that, it's okay to mix in some personal stuff, but be smart in how you mix it. What do you post on there? That's the next big question that comes up. Well, Pete, I don't have a lot of stuff going on. That's okay, because the great thing about social media, it's not like before when we used to advertise, let's say, conventional advertising. Conventional advertising is very simple. You spend $1, you get $1 worth of real estate. That might mean you get a click. That might mean you get a couple banner impressions, and they're there, and then they're gone after your $1's used up. The great thing about social media is that it lasts. It does not get erased. And so what do you put onto social media? You put on basically what it is you do on a daily basis as a real estate investor. Now, I don't care if you don't do it every day. The days you do it, post something on it. Like, hey, I'm out there looking at a house. So I just negotiated a deal with a seller, and here's the numbers, or anything like that. Because really, ultimately, remember, it's the image that counts. It's the image that counts. So when somebody strolls through your YouTube channel, when somebody strolls to your IG Instagram, when somebody strolls through YouTube, you want to give that person a comfort level that you are a real estate expert. And a real estate expert is not somebody that gets onto YouTube every day and talks about some amazing things that no one's ever heard about real estate. A real estate expert to the world is somebody that is actively participating in this business. Again, if I need a service of any kind, what I'm going to go to a professional that is actively participating in that field. I'm not going to go necessarily to the smartest guy, because I don't know who the smartest guy is. But if I go to their social media and I see they're an active car salesman, yes, that's a guy that I want to buy a car from. I see that they're an active, trainer. If I want to get training, and I go on social media and I see, wow, this person is training this guy, and they're themselves are in good shape, and then themselves are lifting weights. So as you think about what do you put on there, put anything to do with real estate. Anything to do with real estate, and anything that you're doing. You don't have to come up with contrived ideas, things you're not doing, setting things up that aren't really, showing that you own this house when you really don't. You don't have to do that. It doesn't mean you can't do a video next to that house. You just don't say people you own it. But just by simply being in the right area with the right environment and doing things there is a very, very powerful thing that social media allows you to do. And remember, the cool thing about it, it's an everlasting thing. So what happens with social media is this: the more content you put out, the more content that stays out. So, in some of the biggest social media people right now in the United States, the Gary V's of the world, and, all the other ones out there. If you look at them, the number one thing all of them promote And by the way, I'm a huge believer in this, but the one thing they promote is that it's all about volume of content. It's all about volume of content. And you never hear, obviously you don't want to be extreme. You don't want to put the wrong content out. And we already covered that tonight. But it's all about putting content out, because the more content you put out, the more chance that people will find you, will discover you, you'll build credibility through it. The other interesting thing about these websites is they are literally content driven. Like for instance, on YouTube, I've have, probably over 700 or 800 videos by now. So what happens when YouTube sees someone like me putting so much content out there, they actually, without getting too sophisticated, they have algorithms that run, and because all these mediums, they're nothing more than search engines. And so right now, like on Facebook, I'm considered an expert in this industry. So that way, when my videos go out, they go out under the expertise kind of thing. So when somebody gets on YouTube and they Google real estate wholesaling, YouTube, because they see how much content I put out there and they see what's happening as a result of me putting that content out, they'll throw my videos to the top. And so that gives me the ability to, again, gain more notoriety, gives me the ability to pick up more business, gives me the ability to basically do more things. So very, very important that you put it out in droves. And the other key thing about social media, you got to be consistent with it. You could always tell when somebody is really not an expert at something, because like once a year they'll post something. They'll post like whatever it is. And you're like, you go there and you look at their social media. It's like 3 posts in 2019, 2 posts in 2017, 1 post, boom, right away it tells you that that's not somebody you want to be. So consistency in the messaging is very important. And again, anything to do with real estate. Because mark my words, you are now no longer just competing in a world of like you against someone else, in a world of, let's say, direct mail, or in a world of knocking on doors, or whatever other marketing you're using. You are now competing in the world of social media. And although you may yourself be winning in the world of, direct mail, and you yourself may be working in the world of knocking on doors, what you're not realizing is behind the scenes that you're hurting yourself if you don't have the right social media image out there. Social media is very important. It's very critical. It's how, I'll give you an example. I used to spend upwards, and when I say upwards, I literally mean upwards of tens and tens of thousands of dollars getting my messaging out there in this world. And my budget now has gone from tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in a offline environment to almost nothing, literally almost nothing, in an online social media environment. So the other great benefit of social media is that it's a lot less expensive. It doesn't cost as much as the world of offline marketing. It's an everlasting one. It never stops. It never disappears and never goes away. And the other thing is, if you think about it, for those of you that are listening to me tonight or somewhere in the past, how'd you find me? I bet 98% of people that are listening to my messaging, listening to what we do here on a daily basis, almost all of you, one way or another, found us on social media. So social media is an absolute hallmark to what you do. Don't get overwhelmed about it. Don't be thinking that, well, gosh, Pete, you got people with cameras all the time. You got tech people behind the scenes. Well, guess what? That's because I have to do a huge, huge volume to stay in business. I mean, I have overhead, I have expenses, I have a 10,000 square foot building, I got employees, I got payroll. Most of you don't have that. So don't think you have to be overwhelmed by having things that I have. And since you can't get them, you're not going to use that as an excuse not to do it. Start out small. Just the great thing about all of these mediums is they're so user friendly. I could literally get on a phone right now. I could literally make a video. I could literally make a video of what I do. Okay. And post it on YouTube like that. Or or post it on Facebook like that, or do an Instagram story like that. So the other great thing about social media, it's not something you have to prepare and have incredible technology behind you and have incredible people behind you. That's something you work towards. That's not something you necessarily need to start with, okay? So again, social media, an absolute must-have. And I challenge anyone here listening today, make your first post when we're done here tonight. Make a commitment that once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, you're going to do something social media. And it's a long tail business, meaning it's not something like just don't think if you're going to post your first video ever today on real estate investing, you're going to have 50 sellers call you tomorrow or 50 buyers call you tomorrow. It's not going to happen. But what will happen if you're consistent with it, if you're persistent with it, if your messaging is real estate related, you're going to see that over the next number of weeks, next several months, next number of years, you'll literally be able to do what I do, and that is to transfer your whole business offline, very expensive, to online, social media driven, a lot more predictable, a lot more everlasting, a lot more convenient to do because you can do it from anywhere. And it's really the ultimate way that you got to build this business. So build the social media, guys. And for instance, for some of y'all, you're still maybe a little bit like, well, how do I do it? Well, guess what, guys? If you're one of our partners, we're going to take an active role in helping you do it. And that's what we do with our partners all over the United States. We don't just show you how to do deals, but we show you how to build a brand. We show you how to build a presence. We show you how to market. We show you how to do all that. And as you guys know, just where we started 40 minutes ago, we want more partners, guys. What I am is I'm a real estate investor. And what I do is I partner with individuals just like you all over the United States, and I do real estate deals with them. So if you want to use my resources to find the deals, my marketing to secure those deals, my people, my infrastructure to help you execute those deals, my money to buy those deals, fix those deals, and then we sell them and split the profits down the middle, then you need to be part of my partner-driven coaching program. And to learn more about how you could do that, just simply go to our website at www.coachingbypeter.com. If you're ready to go, just call me directly at 404-915-9685. Remember, social media must have, must do. It's an absolute positively must do to be in this business. So that's all I got for you guys today. It's a clear-cut message. You're either doing it or you're not. You're not, you're falling behind. You are, you're up with the times. Thanks, guys. See ya.